We have been conditioned from a very young age to believe that being a nice person is the highest form of virtue. We take pride in our ability to avoid conflict and our reputation for always being the one who goes along with the group. However, there is a silent and uncomfortable reality that most of us are completely unwilling to acknowledge. This constant need to be liked is not actually an act of generosity toward other people. It is often a deeply rooted survival mechanism that serves our own needs before anyone else. We are essentially wearing a mask of agreeableness to protect ourselves from the terrifying possibility of social rejection or personal discomfort. When we dig beneath the surface of our polite smiles and our automatic affirmations, we find something far more complex than simple goodness. We are often using our niceness as a shield to stay safe in a world that feels inherently unpredictable. Imagine a person who always agrees to help a colleague with extra work even when their own schedule is completely overflowing. On the surface, this looks like a beautiful act of teamwork and selfless dedication to the company. In reality, that person might be terrified that saying no will make them appear incompetent or difficult to work with. They are not giving their time because they genuinely want to help their coworker succeed in their career. They are giving their time because they cannot sit with the internal anxiety that comes from setting a firm boundary. This behavior creates a hidden barrier between us and the people we claim to care about the most. By the end of this discussion, you will understand why your desire to be nice is actually holding you back from becoming truly kind. The most difficult truth to accept is that niceness is frequently a subtle form of social manipulation. When we agree with someone even though we feel differently, we are not being supportive of their ideas. We are actually managing their perception of us to ensure that they continue to hold us in high regard. This creates a relationship dynamic where the other person is interacting with a polished version of us instead of our true selves. We are essentially lying to them because we do not trust them to handle our honest thoughts or our genuine boundaries. This lack of honesty is a selfish act because it prioritizes our immediate comfort over the long-term health of the connection. We are choosing to keep the peace for ourselves while depriving the other person of the chance to know who we really are. Consider a friend who asks for your honest opinion on a business idea that you know is fundamentally flawed. If you tell them it is a great idea just to avoid hurting their feelings, you are being nice, but you are not being kind. You are protecting yourself from the awkwardness of a difficult conversation while letting your friend walk toward a potential financial disaster. Genuine kindness requires a level of transparency that niceness is simply too afraid to provide to another human being. This protective behavior prevents true intimacy from ever forming because intimacy requires the courage to be seen in our entirety. We are essentially trading the possibility of a deep and honest connection for the shallow safety of a pleasant interaction. This trade might feel good in the moment, but it leaves both parties feeling strangely empty and disconnected over time. Another reason why being nice is fundamentally selfish is that it leads to a buildup of silent resentment. Every time we say yes when we really want to say no, we are taking out a small emotional loan that we cannot afford to repay. We start to keep a mental ledger of all the things we have done for others without ever being asked to do them. This eventually turns into a sense of moral superiority where we feel that the world owes us something for our constant sacrifices. We might find ourselves becoming passive-aggressive or withdrawing emotionally when our unstated needs are not being met by those around us. This is unfair to our friends and family because they never signed up for the hidden terms of our niceness. They believe they are in a balanced relationship while we are secretly keeping score of every perceived slight. We often see this dynamic play out in romantic relationships where one partner constantly suppresses their own desires to please the other. They might choose the restaurants, the movies, and the vacation spots that they think their partner prefers. After several years, they suddenly explode with anger over a very small and insignificant issue. The partner is left completely confused because they had no idea that there was any dissatisfaction under the surface. This explosion is the result of years of selfishly hiding the truth to avoid small conflicts along the way. We must realize that being honest about our preferences is actually a gift of clarity to the people we love. If you are finding value in this perspective so far, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps this message reach more people who might be trapped in this cycle of silent resentment and emotional exhaustion. To move from being nice to being truly kind, we must develop the strength to be honest even when it is incredibly difficult. Kindness is rooted in a deep sense of integrity and a commitment to the well-being of the other person. This might mean telling someone a hard truth that they need to hear to grow in their own lives. While a nice person would stay quiet to avoid an awkward conversation, a kind person speaks up because they value the other person more than their own comfort. This shift requires us to stop looking for external validation and start trusting our own internal moral compass. We must become comfortable with the idea that not everyone will like us at all times. Think about a manager who has to give a difficult performance review to an employee who is struggling. A nice manager might sugarcoat the feedback so much that the employee leaves the room thinking everything is perfectly fine. A kind manager will be direct and clear about the areas that need improvement because they want the employee to keep their job. The nice manager is selfishly protecting their own feelings from the discomfort of being the bearer of bad news. The kind manager is being selfless by risking the employee's temporary dislike to ensure their long-term professional success. Being kind often means setting firm boundaries that might disappoint people in the short term but protect the relationship in the long term. This is a much higher form of love because it is based on reality rather than a curated performance of perfection. When we lead with kindness, we are no longer trying to control how people feel about us through our behavior. Reclaiming your identity from the trap of niceness is the most important step you can take toward living a meaningful and powerful life. It requires you to stop being a resource that others can drain and start being a human being with your own distinct values. You will find that your relationships actually become much stronger when you are willing to be disagreeable for the right reasons. People will start to trust you more because they know that your yes actually means yes and your no is final. You are no longer a mirror reflecting what others want to see, but a solid individual with a clear sense of purpose. This journey away from people-pleasing is not about becoming a cold or mean person in your daily interactions. It is about becoming a person of substance who respects themselves enough to be authentic in every single situation. As you begin to practice this new way of being, you will experience a sense of freedom that you have never known before. You will no longer wake up with that heavy feeling of obligation or the dread of having to perform for others. You will realize that the people who truly belong in your life will respect your honesty and value your boundaries. Those who were only around because you were an easy resource will naturally drift away, and that is a positive outcome. True kindness is a gift that you give to the world from a place of strength rather than a place of fear. It is the foundation of a life built on real respect, deep connection, and unshakable self-worth. Thank you for watching.